Hello guys, welcome back to the crew 2. Let's have a look on the hobbies. Let's talk about the hobbies. Let's have an overview on the hobbies. They brought it in a couple of weeks ago, about 2 weeks ago I think. I in general find it a pretty okay thing because it is something to do. We finally have something to do besides playing summits and stuff like that. It is a bit grindy in some cases, obviously, but that's the whole idea. I know there are some people complaining, and I agree with some of those things. We'll have a look on all those hobbies and do a quick overview. Some of those things are a bit exaggerated. Some of those things could have been a little bit lower number. But in general, the thing is based on a casual player who can potentially get the cars in his or her garage in about 2-3 months. That is what the Hobbies is about. The Hobbies is not about let's grind like crazy and get everything in our garage in 4 days time. You can do that if you play like 12 hours, 14 hours a day or so. That is all possible. But in general, it was based on a 2-3 month period for a casual player to get it done and dealt with. Other than that, again, it was free, so a new feature. We are celebrating 2 years of the game in about 2 weeks time, I think. So far, everything brought into this game, whether it was the Hotshots update, the Blazing Shots, the Inner Drive, whatever. Now the Hobbies, it was all for free so far. Obviously, that probably will not stay like that. One point or another we will get some DLC more than likely. And it already started in a way with that thing over there. The Mitsubishi Eclipse Star Edition. Only available for crew credits, which is not the in-game bucks obviously. You could get it if you do your daily contracts. You can get your hands on crew credits and then you were able to buy this if you did regularly the daily contracts, because then you had enough. Although the price was quite a lot. 125,000 crew credits if you have season pass, 155 or 156,000 if you don't have the season pass. So far we could pay it. If they bring more of these things, we're gonna have to cough up some money because we do not have enough daily contracts to do to get more of those things, but we will see. Hobbies. These are all summit rewards that you saw there, by the way. And the Hobbies, we have the Plymouth Roadrunner for the collector category, and in the back the Hummer HX concept for the Explorer category. Over there it is empty, which is the racer category, Mazda RX-7 Turbo 10th anniversary. We do not have that thing. We'll have it in this video, obviously. Otherwise, we don't do videos about these things. That's how things go. This Plymouth is not that bad. Drives pretty good. The Hummer, on the other hand, is more towards super good, because it is actually a fun car to drive in. It drives more like a street car than a rally raid car. We'll do a little road trip. Collector Underglow comes with it. That is the thing that you get before you get the car itself. So it goes, you get some emotes if you have certain stars in that thing. And then once you are over with the award and all these emotes in your thing, then you get that Collector Underglow. And then there's only one thing to gain in the collector category, and that is the car itself, the Plymouth Roadrunner. Explorer category, sort of the same story. You have a few emotes that you can gain. You have that the Explorer Underglow that you can win next, and then eventually you get the Hummer HX concept. And it's sort of similar in the Racer. Also there are some emotes. Eventually you have the underglow and then the car to follow. I cannot show you that because I don't have it yet. But they do drive both okay. This thing lacks a bit of top speed, but it has a pretty strong boost, decent acceleration and all that kind of stuff. And it's also pretty stable off-road, which it's meant to be. You know, it's an off-road car after all. The Marina del Rey air race. Let's do that while we are here. Why not, you know? You know how an air race works, you need to go through those gates and all that kind of stuff. Completely ignore that at this moment in time. We'll get the first gate as we should, and then we do some other stuff. Play in normal mode so we can even finish the event. Let's fly a bit upside down maybe. That might be an idea. We are going to go by the route here. Spend time inverted in planes 15 minutes or whatever. Gave us some stars apparently. And that, my friends, is exactly what I needed. I needed 2 more stars, and those were those 2 stars. I needed about 15 seconds of inverted flighting. Just finish this event, because that's the other thing. You can finish it if you have some upgraded vehicle. Although we are flying inverted. Probably even better if you do Rockies, which is like just stay on top of a mountain. It is also a bit longer, so it will give you some more time. Rockies is probably the best one to do this. You can of course do something in aerobatics if you don't have an air race plane. Provincetown is not that bad, because you can fly a lot of inverted on that lake. You can even skip a few playlists, so that you don't have to do those things. There are 2 of the sequence playlists in Provincetown where it needs to fly inverted anyway, so. And then in the freestyle you can also fly inverted, so also there you can get quite some inverted time. We need, I don't know, in total 3 hours or so, or 2 hours at least. Maybe even an hour, who knows. Not that important. What is important was those, that pop-up, for me at least. Because we had a car missing in the garage, well, we no longer have a car missing in the garage if everything went right. We'll finish this event. As you can see, if you do it in normal mode, you can even finish it, you get some parts from it, you get some bugs from it, yeah. So it even works. Ting, 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 there we go. And that should complete the racer category, and it gives us the Mazda RX-7 Turbo 10th anniversary. We'll have a look on that thing later. We'll first collect it, obviously. So, the collector. What do you need? You need 570 stars. At the moment I have 630, and I do not have everything complete yet. Although I am pretty close. I'm just missing a few things. So we're gonna go over all of these things. See where I found some problems and where everything was fine. The first thing is as simple as it gets. Can't remember exactly, but I think you even get those things when you start up the game. The same goes for the cars. If you have a lot of cars in your garage, there are a lot of these stars popping up already. If you don't have that many cars, you might have an issue. So the first thing, you don't have to do anything except for playing the game. This is just level based. Rookie, popular, famous, star, and icon. The rookie is just one level or one stage, or however you want to call that. It's only one little block over there. So that gives you, I think, 4 stars you get for that. The same goes for popular, famous, and star. And then the icon level, that has 4 stages. I don't know the exact numbers because it just popped up. I will put in the description of this video a link to a Google document made by TFC Miku, who has put in the effort of putting all these things in a Google document with some extra information how to get some of these things. Some are a bit tricky or not very cleanly explained. Thanks to TFC Miku, we are able to have a closer look on that on the Google Doc. We also do not, he exactly like me, we were already icon something, so we don't know exactly these levels in these different icon levels. The only way to get that is if we would have like a new account. We asked the devs for all the numbers so that we could complete his document. At this moment in time, we have no reply from them yet, so we will see. Same story here with networking. Don't exactly know how many of these followers you need. I have 45 million. That was more than enough to get the complete set. Get rich and then get richer. You need to earn 10 million. This is not something that you get if you start up the game. So you had to earn 10 million from the moment that they brought in this Hobbies thing. Although you might have like 60, 70, 80 million sitting there, you had to restart. I think it was something like 10,000, 100,000, a million, 10 million for the 4 different levels. If you have one of these, the first level gives you 1 star, the second level 2 stars, the third level 3 stars, and the fourth level 4 stars. In total, you can earn 10 stars with completing one of these things. The same goes for the spare parts. Don't know the numbers there exactly, but 1 million spare parts you needed to obtain to get that thing completed. All that is not much you need to do for that. You play the game, you have to do events for all the other categories and hobbies. You're gonna gain money anyway. To give you an idea, I was missing certain cars in my garage. No longer the case. I have just earned that Mazda. That was car number 360 out of 360. So I bought all those cars. I think I needed about 8-9 million to buy the remaining specs that I still needed. A couple of touring cars, a couple of drift cars. I bought them. And even now I am back up to 10 million already. So how long does this hobby thing take? Well, if you want to put it out in bucks, about 20 million. Somewhere between 15 and 20 million you will earn by doing all kind of events to complete the hobbies. Followers, reach, spare parts, we got that. Unlock the street racing narrative rewards. Yeah, that is going to the street race campaign. That is more for new players. And eventually you can you beat Theo and you unlock the McLaren P1, and that is something related to that. Also, these things popped up as soon as we boosted up the game after the hobbies came in, because we already had that. The same goes for the off-road family. Eventually you beat Tuck, you get your hands on the helicopter, and this off-road spirit thing is completed. Same goes for freestyle. You beat Sophia, you get the hovercraft, everything done and dealt with. Pro racing, you beat Clarence, you get the Aston Martin Vulcan, pick it up in the headquarters there in the pit, and also that is completed. So the collector, those first things, depending on how long you play the game, either you already had them or you will get them over time by just going through the campaign. The performance parts, you pick up parts if you do events. Also that, pretty simple, explanatory. Green parts, blue parts, purple parts, and yellow parts or gold parts. I'm not exactly sure about the numbers. As you can see, I have 2, 3, 4, 500,000 and so 500 parts. I think it was 100 green parts you needed, probably 100 blues as well. You needed 200 purple ones, and that had to do with that you earn 100 by yourself, and you also need to earn 100 purple parts while you were in a crew. So that's why in total it was 200 purples here, and 100 yellows as well. And in total you needed to grab 500 parts. But yeah, if you have 100 green, 100 blue, 100 purple, 100 gold, and 100 in a crew purple here, then you have 500 in total. So it was like, it's all related, that part, performance part thing. Gain new followers in a crew while playing PvP is 200,000. You need to earn 200,000 to complete that. And then we have a bunch of cars that you need to earn. You need to own some Abarth, some Alfa Romeo, Aston Martin, and so on. It keeps going on, like all kind of different brands. Don't know the exact numbers there either, because yeah, I already had them all sitting here. And it keeps going on with Proto and Rough, and that's it for the collector category when it comes to vehicles. You need to own some helmets, also yes, you unlock all kind of stuff playing the campaign, participating in Summit, so yeah, also there, all kind of things that popped up when we just boosted up the game after the Hobbies update. So this is not something we had to go for, it was sitting here already. Shirts, I have 25, I'm assuming you needed 20 or so. Pants, I have 16, I have level 4, so that was even less. Some gloves, some shoes, that is more, yeah, all kind of things that you can wear, and then a total amount of clothes that you needed to, so like with the performance parts. You have them all separately, and then you have another hobby which makes it total. Then we come to hoods. You need 100 hoods, you need 100 front bumpers and front fenders and rims and skirts and all that kind of stuff. 100 you need of all of them to complete that. As you can see, I don't have them all. I just got 50. You can of course go to the house and buy 50 more. We have more than enough money. That's not. You can buy some cheap hoods on some of these cheaper cars, so you can get 100. Eventually we will complete that, but you don't need it because you have quite some room. I have 570 stars in the collector. I have 630, so you have 60 stars already, and I don't have anything completed yet. So also here for this is all hoods, front bumpers, front fenders, rims, side mirrors, skirts, rear fenders, rear wings, and rear bumpers. Same story, in all of them you need to have 100 to get it completed. But if you go to level 3, make sure you have 50. That's good enough to get your hands on the Plymouth. You don't need to go to obtain all the 100. So that is, you might get away even with going to level 2 with some of these things. Level 3 is 3 stars, so even if I, how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's 27 stars that I gained from these level 3 things. Even then I would have 603 stars, so level 2 is all you need on those things, if you complete the rest obviously. Collect emotes, that is something you automatically get by playing this, because you get every few hundred stars that you get here on all of these 3 categories, you get emotes. So this is like, while you unlock the emotes here by doing the hobbies, you will also get that extra hobby here. Tires, I didn't buy any tires, maybe one set or so once. And I have 26 sets sitting there. We won a lot in the summit, so also that you can get from there. Same goes for smokes. Nitros, I have 3 out of 5. I did not buy any nitros, so those are 3 nitros that we won in the summit. And the last level is 5. So if they give us another 2 nitros, we have this completed. You can of course go to the vanity shop and just buy them, but I'm not spending crew credits, whatever it is, that sometimes they ask like 50,000 for it. That's $5 real money for a vanity item. No. I'm here to drive around and race around. I'm not here to make a fashion show of the game, so not that interested in that vanity. Underglows, not sure on the number. I have 16 and I had it on level 4. Also there, won most of them. The window tints, similar story. I have 3 out of 5. I did buy the black window tint, I think, which was only 8,000 crew credits, so okay. That is something that I did buy. The other 2, they will come with the summit probably. Make some noise. I don't have any level in that, because you need to get horns, and they gave us 10 for free. And so it says 10 out of 11 for the first level, which makes me assume that you just have to ignore those 10, and it's just like with the underglow and the tires and all that kind of stuff. It is just 1, 2, 3 and 5 for the 4 levels. So it will be more than likely 11, 12, 13 and 15 for the horns. But they just add those 10 that they gave for free. So if we win a horn in the summit, yeah, then I will have this thing in level 1. If not, so be it. I'm not going to buy horns for crew credits. That's not going to happen. And seeing we own all those things from underglows, those are the vanities. Some of them are green, common. Some of them are rare, which are blue. Some of them are epic. Some of them... no, epic is the highest in vanity. So also there, bragging rights level 1, not too shabby, and awesome itself come from those things as well. Then we also have the weekly hobbies, and that means that every week, just like the summit, there's a new summit every week. Also in these hobbies, you will have the weekly hobbies, which you can find over here. This category here, it's summitotic. You need to complete the 9 activities in the summit during the week. That seems to be recurring. We have this is week number 3 now in the hobbies, and this is the 3rd time that we have finished all 9 activities in the summit, which you need to get some stars from there. The other 4 are new ones. There were 4 different ones last week than there are this week. So those are more chances to get more stars in case you are still grinding out there, which a lot of people are, obviously. So that's where that comes from. And this is one of those new ones. We had to equip a tire on a monster truck. It's sort of related to the summit this week. We had to do some stuff in a Hummer monster truck, which you also need to use in the summit. We had to do some stuff in a Ford Raptor touring car, which you also need to use in the summit. So it's you buy the summit bundle, you can also use them for the weekly hobbies. That's what it seems that they are doing at the moment. Time spent in HQs was 1 hour to get it completed. Meanwhile, I spent 5 hours and 22 minutes in there. That is something, even if you don't specifically go for this hobby, you will get it over time. And that's with most of these things. Test drive any vehicle. Yeah, that might be a problem. Especially for the more hardcore and experienced players who has a lot of money, who bought all the cars already. You can't test drive a car. If you already own all the cars, you can't test drive them. Well, not exactly. You can test drive always a summit car, for instance. Like next week, we have the Pagani Huayra Rubicone Edizione. You can win it throughout the week in the summit, but you can already go to the headquarters, go into the hypercar category. You will be able to test drive that Pagani. And you need to test drive, I think it was 20 kilometers in total. If you do not own any of these hobbies rewards, the Plymouth or the Hummer or the Mazda, you can also test drive those. They are available to test drive in headquarters, in case you own all the cars. Thanks for the follow, Barry. So that is something I heard that some people had some problems with that, especially the more experienced ones. Didn't immediately think of the fact that I own all the cars, I can't test drive them. You can test drive reward cars, which are coming anytime soon. Like something like a summit reward, you can always test drive it. Turn the lights on and off, yeah, that is as easy as it gets. Open the doors, start the engines, all kind of stuff you need to do in the house or the headquarters. These were pretty much for stars every time. Pretty easy stars. And then we have things that you get over time. You have two categories. Either you have the classic vehicles or you have the modern vehicles. Both of them were 1,000 kilometers, I believe. You need to do in that. So 1,000 kilometers in classic cars, 1,000 kilometers in modern cars. Meanwhile, I have 12,800. And then you have some specific categories. The GT cars, in those specific categories, you need 500 kilometers. GT cars, hot hatches. Oh, I still need to do 7 kilometers in a hot hatch to get that completed. Muscle cars, sports cars, supercars, and utility. This collector category, all in all, pretty okay. Of course, yeah, you need to buy some hoods and all that kind of stuff. Not necessarily. You can leave that open and do all the rest, and then see how many stars you get. Because I'm pretty sure you might, in some of these cases, you might get away with just having a level 1 in those things and still have enough to get the Plymouth. So the collector category, maybe the test drive or so for those who didn't know, but other than that, it was not like really a problem in that whole thing. So the Plymouth should be something that you can earn pretty easy. Moving to the Explorer, the Hummer HX concept. You need 520 stars. Here you have a bit less room to play around with. As you can see, I have 554, and I think I do have most things. There are a few that I have opened, so here you have a bit of more playroom than I have at the moment. I have 34 stars more than I need. And I still have some things open, so we'll go over this, see if there's any problem there. Although most of us, as you join the game, you see you have 4 headquarters. They give you the choice to select one of those 4 headquarters, but eventually you visit those 4 headquarters. You had to revisit them again for these things. These things were not popped up yet when you boosted the game after Hobbies. So you had to go back to the spot and to base camp and to the barn and to the pit. In other words, you visit the 4 headquarters again to unlock the street racing, off-road, freestyle and pro racing. Once you were in that headquarters, you walk around there, you discover what is in there. The orange bus for the live contracts, the yellow shop where you can buy your vanity and bundles and all that stuff, the summit billboard, the live battle PvP tent. So it was just a walk around any of the headquarters and you find all these things. Then some crew stuff. You needed to make a crew of 2, a crew of 3, a crew of 4, and just a crew in general. But the crew in general has different levels. I think it was something like 110, 25, and the last level is 100 times. As you can see, throughout this Hobbies period, I made a crew about 28 times. The rest will come over time. Those last 4 stars is not something you immediately need. If you do need it, get some friends together, go in a crew, go out, go in a crew. If you need those 4 stars specifically, but not necessarily. Time spent on the map, I think the total was, 1 hour. Different stages that you had to go through, and eventually the final stage was 1 hour, if I'm not mistaken. Those are things you probably can find on the TFC Mugu document below in the description of the video on YouTube when I'm posting this. Use the fast travel. Don't know exactly, was it 250 times or 500 times? Pretty easy to do. Especially like on keyboard, you can map different buttons for car, plane and boat. You can do that very quickly. And I think you can do 250 times in 5 minutes if you want. You just switch from car, plane, boat, car, plane, boat. It goes so quickly that it's no issue. Place and reach a waypoint 120 kilometers away without fast travel. Yeah, you need to put a waypoint and then actually drive there. Make sure that you put it far enough. Don't just put it on 120 kilometers because it may not count. That would be kind of stupid. So put it on 125 or 130 kilometers. I think in general it worked for most people. Although I know that in a technical test, for instance, we had to do it 2 times before it counted, but I haven't heard anything of that, so once it was in the game, they probably fixed that. It for sure counted. Time in the house spent, just like in the headquarters in the collector category, here in this explorer thing, is 1 hour. You need 1 hour in total to get the cocooning. If you haven't done the photo ops yet, as a new player, those are things you should do because they give you 15,000 bucks every time. The first time you take that picture with the requirements of all those categories in there. You can find them in activities. You have the different races in the different disciplines of the family, and then at the end you have skills, and next to it photo ops. That's where you can find those. In the 4 families, you need to complete them. Street racing, off-road, freestyle, and pro racing. That's that line. Then you have skill tests, and as you can see, I have level 2 in most of them, because I find it, this is one of those things a bit exaggerated. You need to do 500 in total. 500 in street racing, 500 in off-road, 500 in freestyle, and 500 in pro racing. That number is a bit pulled with the hairs, as we say here. That's a bit completely overdone. I think like 200 would have been like a decent number for a level 4 instead of 500. I know they are short things to do, but they are also the risk of getting repetitive. I've done 50 no matter what in all of these categories, at least. I have 94 in street racing. You will get them, even if you cruise around, you go through a speed trap or you do an escape without even noting it. It will add up, and over time you will get those 500. But if you really you want to get the car and you grind for it, this is one of those things. Just skip it, do 1 or 2 levels, which you will automatically get because you need to beat the rivals. You need to beat the TO in street racing, Tuck in off-road, Sophia in skills as well, and Clarence as well, freestyle and pro racing. You need 50 of those. So we need to beat the rival score 50 times. If you're a new player, what is the rival score? On top, if you do a skill test, on top of your screen you will see a bar which is sort of divided into 2 parts. The first part, the first 50%, is your objective, if you complete that. And the second part, if you complete that and the bar is full, that is the rival score. It might be possible that you have a friend standing there as a rival. You don't need to beat your friend, you only need to beat this guy here, in this case in street racing, TO. In general, it is about 2.5 to 3 times the objective. So if you do an escape and the objective is 800 meters, then the rival score will be around 3,000 meters, something like that. You have to do it 50 times in each of the families. So you have to go to the activities, go to the yellow skills, you go to off-road, you go to the orange skills, and so on. 50 times. I did it, and that automatically, of course, also counts towards this. This is 2 levels in each of the in those 4 here. I think the first level was like 10, the second level is 50, and then it's 200 and 500. So I got level 2 on those, and I did get the 50 beaten things here. Use the fast fav. Oh, that other thing earlier was fast travel. Was completing with confusing with this one. This is the fast fav. This is quickly switching between plane and boat and car, and so you need to also hear 500 times. If you play the game over time, you will get that. I did it 250 times because this was one of those stars that I could use. That's level 3. I could use those 3 stars to get the Hummer when I was going for that. And I missed like, I think I needed about 20 fast faps. So I quickly did it, like within 30 seconds. I had 10 times switch from vehicle and then gave me level 3. Level 4 is 500, still need to do that, we'll get it. I need about 150 more, so we'll do that. And while you do that, you automatically get this one if you do it quickly, because you need to switch in less than 30 seconds between car, boat and plane. Quick and easy. Trigger a speed trap skill in reverse gear. Yeah, I saw all kind of tricks and trips coming all over the place. The easiest way to do is you take the Proto Alpha Mark II Formula 1 car, Alpha GP, you drive in reverse, that thing does 100 kilometers an hour, which is exactly the speed that you need to trigger a speed trap. So the Proto Alpha Mark II. Just drive in reverse, go to something like New York. There's a street skill there. You can easily do it. Complete the live contracts. That is sort of the thing where I'm assuming that everybody is at level 2. Because if you complete one that was level 1, 1 day, level 2 was 7 or 1 week, level 3 is 1 month or 30 days. Nobody has that yet because the thing is not in the game 30 days. I have 15 here now. I might have skipped 1 or 2 days. So it is possible that it's about 18 days or so now. And then we have to wait and see what the last level is. That can either be 2 months or 3 months. So it will be like 60 or 90 days. Sort of the time that an average casual will need to get all these things done. Sort of refers here in the contracts, you can see that. This here, you need to get a plane together with a crew. 50 kilometers in formation, so you need to drive, need to fly pretty close to each other for 50 kilometers. Yeah, that's just a matter of getting 3 people together. At least 3 planes, you can do it with 4 as well. Driving the summit activities was 1000 kilometers. And jump in summit activities was 20 kilometers. If you paid attention a bit and if you read through these things, you could have gotten these high jumps in week number 1 because at that time in the summit we had serial jumpers which was full of ramps. You could easily get that there. Reach the top 1000 in any skill is also something that you will get automatically when you are trying to beat Theo and Sophia in those skill tests, or when you try to do the 200 or 500 skill tests that you need to do. You will automatically also get that thing. Quick and easy. Finish all 9 activities in a summit. Yeah, if you don't play summit, that is indeed something you need to do. We, of course, we are playing summit every week, so this is like, yeah, a piece of cake, a walk in the park for us. We had it like after half an hour or so we did all the events, and at the same time also completed our summit, so was a win-win. You need to collect some live rewards. If you haven't done that, you're for sure gonna get that in the last week of June, because then it's anniversary week, celebration of 2 years of the crew 2, and that also means that they will boost the live crates. So you will find more boxes, there will be better parts in there will be more parts in there, so if you still need some parts here or there in a discipline, especially as a new player, it's the way to go. You can upgrade, if you paid attention and you fly around that week, when they have boosted set, you can get all of your sets in disciplines completely upgraded. Complete sets, yellow sets, you just need to spend some time and effort there. A new player can get Nitrochemist score breaker sets in all disciplines. And while you're doing it, while you're opening those boxes, you will also get the live snippers and the Fame Magnet and the Loot Digger. So you can complete most of the sets, if not all of the sets, in all of the disciplines. Just make sure you fly around. When the time is there, we probably do a video on that as well. Although we already have videos on that. Also put some Loot Diggers on if you have them. Or Gold Finder parts. If you open the boxes, it all give you a chance to find more boxes. You need 60 greens. 60 green boxes you need to open to get this reward. 40 blue ones, 30 purple ones, and 20 yellow ones. Those are the level 4 numbers. As you can see, I have level 3 on most of them. Only the blue boxes, I found those 40. I still need a few purple, about 25-30 green ones, and a couple of yellow ones as well. All not that important. Didn't need them, otherwise you can just fly around and open boxes. If you have a live sniffer reward set in your plane or so, you can just fly around and open those boxes one by one. Not a problem. This was also a bit of a grind. It has to do with the radios. You need to do some radio stuff. Ride the road with an Alpha's American bike, listening to rock this radio. So for those who don't know where the radio is, that's in the tool menu. Over here, if you open this thing here on top there, you have the radio. You can put that on, and then you have hip hop, you have country, you have classic essential, and you have rock this. Those four, you have more channels, but those four channels is you need when it comes to the hobbies. So this one is an American bike listening to rock this radio. You need 250 kilometers in total to get this completed. Also here 250 kilometers in a drift car listening to the fresh hip hop. So hip hop on the radio, you take a drift car and you just have to drive around. My advice here would be take the Koenigsegg Agera. That thing can do over 400 kilometers. You might have to retune it a little bit so that it drives straight and it's not constantly sideways, because that will take you longer to drive those 250 kilometers. I still need to do about 100 in that thing. Drive off-road listening to the Infinity Country radio. Some reason or another that was only 20 kilometers. So although the other ones are 250, this one was only 20 kilometers. And this one, yeah, that is like you put your brain at zero and just go to Little Eagle or something. You step in a car which can get some speed, put on the classical radio, and you drive 250 kilometers on a circuit. Little Eagle is probably your best shot at it, because that's an oval, don't have to worry about anything else. Just doing your laps there. You need about 55 laps on that track. The track is 4.7 kilometers, so 55 laps on Little Eagle will get you there. These things are cumulative, so you can do 100 today and 50 tomorrow, and eventually you will get that. There are some other things, we'll come to that later, which are not cumulative. You have to do that at once. Reach the edge of the world with a rally raid vehicle. Reach the edge of the world with a powerboat and a jet sprint and a monster truck. Those are four things. You basically just have to go out of the map. You either do that in the south, approaching the Mexican border, or you do it in the north, approaching the Canadian border. You basically just have to drive outside of the USA, which the game will not allow you, but as soon as if you hit that, let's say the hidden wall, then that thing will pop up. And you have to do it in a monster truck, rally raid, powerboat and jet sprint. That is the edge of the world. Reach the highest of heights, 4.4 kilometers. That is just, you fly up till your plane stalls or something, and that's it. You will get that. And then try to get control of your plane again. And if you go nosedive down, then you will also get enough top speed for the plane, which you need in the racer category. So you can get like two hobbies at once there, doing that stuff. Complete the road trip photo set. This is again the photos that you find in the activities, but then in this case more specific. The road trip set that you need to do. You also need to do the wildlife set. And then we're gonna have to drive around a little bit. Find the giant cow. Not that hard to do. A little bit west of Chicago, you will find that thing. You can't miss it. I think even if you zoom in on the map, you can see that thing. The flying saucer is a bit south of the Black Mount in the southwest, sort of middle of the desert. You will find a flying saucer alien activity, sort of. Are surrounded by fences. That's where that thing is. I believe it's also part of the photo sets. You need to take a picture of that thing as well, I believe. So that's also something you can do in combination with some of these things from the collector. Find the Wigwam Motel. We'll have a look on the map quickly. To give you an idea where the flying saucer is, here somewhere in this area. Don't know exactly anymore. I think it was here. There it is. That's the flying saucer, which is just east of the western shrub steppes. And then a bit more over here. Where's that little town there? Here I think it is. Yeah, Holbrook over here. That's where you will find the Wigwam Motel. There's another one where you need to find alien activity that is in LA, in the harbor. You have some green containers there. I think it's these here. No. It's some sort of over here it is, yeah. Some sort of Pac-Man phase or whatever it is, you know. Some computer game from the 80s. You had like, so it's supposed to be like an alien phase or something that it represents. Those the green container things. Yeah, that was it, I think. When it do specific things that you had to go for. We'll have a look to be sure. The flying saucer we just saw on the western steps there. Wigwam Motel is in Holbrook. The Fossil State Park, that's where all the dinosaurs are, is a bit south of Dallas, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Discover the Hidden Help Island, that is in the ocean west of Los Angeles. Discover the proof they were here, that is that container combination in the LA harbor that I just showed you there. The Assassin's Creed symbol is in Washington. If you fly towards the White House, you find on that park lane there, you find one giant peak thing there. That is the Assassin's Creed symbol. Then this is one of the new ones that they added this week. We need to open some 10 boxes, I believe it was in total. Just some loot boxes that you have to open with a rally raid utility. So you pick up our SUV and you open those boxes in rally raid, then you will get that. Niagara Falls, obviously northeast of the map, towards the Canadian border. Grand Canyon, more or less in the middle of the map. Cape Canaveral on the east, a bit north of Miami, that's where you will find that. The White House, as I said, in Washington DC, obviously, and that's where you will also find the Assassin's Creed symbol. Santa Monica Pier, LA, obviously, and then a few more specific areas on the map. You can even find it on the map if you zoom in a bit. You can find the words on the map. Yellowstone, Meteor Crater. The plane graveyard is also a bit westwards, southwestwards of the off-road headquarters. For those who don't know where that thing is, it's there's also a demolition derby arena over there. The 8. If you go to the 8, the demolition derby race. If you go in activities and you go to the 8, that thing more than likely will pop up because it is there in the graveyard. Discover Times Square, obviously in New York. While you are there, you can also do that speed trap there in reverse in your Alpha GP. You can combine some of these things. Mount Rushmore is obviously in the Midwest, a bit westwards of the Giant Cow, west of Chicago. Golden Gate Bridge, San Francisco. Statue of Liberty is in New York. Visit Las Vegas canals and pools in a crew of jet sprints. You need to be in a crew. You need to be in jet sprints. You need to hang out there on the basically on the Las Vegas Waterway jet sprint event. If you do that over and over, you will get this. You need 150 kilometers in total. We didn't bother with it at this moment because we also didn't need it to get the Hummer. But if you do need it, you can go in a crew and do some laps there on Las Vegas Waterway. Doesn't have to be in an event. You can just do it in free drive as well if you just wanna. But you need 150 kilometers no matter what. What you have with those crew things is everybody needs to be in the jet sprint in this case, and everybody needs to be moving. Not one guy in a menu or something. If one guy is in a menu, it will not count for the other people. So if you're thinking I'm just gonna sit there or with some script crap or something, there are people doing some of these things with script, believe it or not. Because they're just lame asses that don't want to drive or something. Will not count if there's one guy in the menu. Ride in a crew of Harley Davidson on Road 66, that is a little bit of a problem. It basically is from bridge to bridge and it's about 7 or 8 kilometers. All the rest does not count. Road 66 goes from Chicago, more or less towards St. Louis, and then it goes over here westwards. Pretty much goes by over here Santa Fe, and sort of goes to all the way to the LA Santa Monica Pier. That's where the real Route 66 sort of stops. Forget all about that. It will not count. It will only count if you go here to Chicago. Over here, more or less, that road starts. But you have the river here. Let's see, what is that here? The Chicago Boy Smashing skill test. You go a bit right there, you have that bridge over the river. That's where it starts counting. You just follow that road. You will see some plates, Route 66, next to the road as well. And you just keep on following it towards St. Louis. You come from here. And more or less the similar story. You go down here. Over here is a bridge. That's where it stops counting. That's the only thing. You can drive on all the way to LA. It will not count. It will not give you the 100 kilometers. Just go from Chicago to St. Louis. River bridge to river bridge. Up and down the whole time. You need 100 kilometers in total. So you need to go up and down a couple of times. And it needs to be done in a crew. So that was a bit of a problem. That one, because it didn't count. We would just want to drive with our group from Chicago to LA, which is more than 100 kilometers. Then we would have had that thing. It was not possible. It stopped counting after a while. That's why it's always best to pin these things so that you see what is happening. Eventually we got it, as you can see, because I have 100 kilometers you needed, so. Drive in a crew of Mercedes at the Golden Hills track. Also that one does not need to be in the event, but you can do, for instance, the Golden Hills racetrack event. You need the Mercedes. Yeah, that's all you need. So street race doesn't tell any specific spec or so you can do street race, touring car, whatever, as long as it's Mercedes. Also there you need 100 kilometers. This one, yeah, this one was a bit. Drive in a crew of KTM motocross at the Ocean Arena. You need 50 kilometers to get this thing completed. Everybody, as with all these crew things, everybody needs to be on the KTM, everybody needs to be moving. Nobody in the menu or so, because it will also not count for the others. If there's a guy in the menu or you fall asleep or something, kick him out. Because it will not count. You just need to be in a crew, so you can just do it with like one friend. There are a few things where you need a full crew, but that it specifically says so. But this is a bit the Ocean Arena. Also, that you will not find it anywhere on your activities or so, because there's nothing called. It's called the Storm X Arena. It is in Ocean Park in Seattle. It's that arena, so you have to go there with the KTM motocross bike and just like some idiots, do some circles or something if you want to quickly complete this. That's what we did. You can of course play around a bit there in that arena, do some jumps, because you need, for instance, you need air time in a bike. You need to drive bikes for 3,000 kilometers in total. Just go to that arena. It's another one of those brain at zero and just go with the flow and do it, because also this one doesn't make much sense. This is like the second one or so that we found. We're gonna get more of those, more specifically in the racer category in a second. The jumping flux is one that was for the weeklies this week. You have to use the Hummer monster truck, which you also have to use in Summit. Yeah, also this one, a bit of wet. One for the kids, I guess. You need to play information and do some jumps. So if you go to something like the Death Valley Arena in Las Vegas, monster truck arena, you have a pretty straight line with 3-4 jumps in a row. Just jump over there and come back. You need to do it in formation, so you need to do that in a crew, obviously. Well, not obviously, because if you just happen to have like a guy there in your session in free drive, it also counts with him. But you need to be aware of what you're doing. You need to drive information. If that guy suddenly takes off, then it's not counting for you anymore. So it's best to do this in a crew. Just follow each other for 2 minutes. Not following each other for 2 minutes, you need to be in the air for 2 minutes. So you probably have to do this 5 to 10 minutes before you have the 2-minute air time. Then you have to travel from New York City to San Francisco. That is not fast travel. As far as I know, that doesn't count unless there are for some it counted, but you actually have to drive there. You don't need to do that specifically like I did, because that's what I did. I drove there, and then later on I came to some other hobby where you had to do the thing again in a boat. So yeah, obviously if you do that boating, you also will get this one. So this is one of those things you can combine. But I first did these road trips and then came to the conclusion later on that actually I should have waited till I've done the other things. Travel from Detroit to New Orleans. I think it was in the specific time though. Oh no, here it comes, the time things. Travel from Port Isabel to Key West in less than 11 minutes with any ground vehicle. Needs to be ground vehicle, so don't try doing it with a boat or a plane, will not count. 11 minutes, not worry about. We did it in the technical test, it was set on 8 minutes. That was way harder. Some of us couldn't even get it, and we were all competitive players, so that's why they gave you 3 minutes extra now. Sometimes those technical tests do help occasionally. Travel from Dallas to New Orleans in less than 3 minutes with a street vehicle. This is one of those things that you can combine with this one. You have to travel from Detroit to New Orleans. You have to travel from Dallas to New Orleans. So you just go from Detroit to New Orleans by going over Dallas and combine it with this one. You can go. You can do like Detroit to Dallas in a plane. You switch to a street race vehicle, which you need in Dallas, and then go to New Orleans in less than 3 minutes, and you will get both of these hobbies at once. You only like one road trip. Travel from Acadia to Los Angeles in less than 25 minutes with a hypercar. My advice there will be, do not follow the GPS. If you follow the GPS, it sends you over Route 66. You have a bunch of traffic, it goes slow, you have a lot of hairpins, stuff like that. You will not make it in 25 minutes. Just go from Acadia to New York, from New York, Daytona, Dallas, and then to Los Angeles, all over the Southern Highway. Not a problem to make it in 25 minutes. If you follow the GPS, you might have a problem. Los Angeles to Las Vegas in less than 7 minutes. You can just do that by following the GPS, which more or less is Latrell Cars part number 1, the hypercar race, but in reverse. It goes over that mountain, you go up the mountain, go down the mountain, and you're in Las Vegas. You can do that easily in 7 minutes. Travel from Seattle to Miami in less than 30 minutes with a hypercar, also that. Take a look on the map first, just follow the highway. The GPS wants to send you over the mountain to Las Vegas first and then goes down. It takes some, it goes over Santa Fe. It sends you over some national roads with a bunch of traffic. Ignore the GPS. Learn how to drive on that map, where exactly you need to want to go, and just go southwards towards San Francisco, Los Angeles, and keep following that highway to Miami. You can easily do that in 30 minutes on the highway. Travel from New York City to Bar Harbor in less than 5 minutes and 30 seconds with a powerboat or a hypercar. I did it in a boat. I'm assuming it's also possible with a hypercar. So you can go over land or over water for that one. Travel from the Black Mountain to Las Vegas in less than 10 minutes with an off-road vehicle. Pretty much a straight line. You just have to avoid some cactuses in the Joshua Tree land and some rocks, which are a bunch of on there in that area. A couple of windmills as well there, but yeah, pretty much straightforward. San Francisco to Los Angeles, rally rate vehicle. I just drove over the road. I went from San Francisco to Los Angeles over Highway 1. I used the, I think the Porsche rally rate. You could easily do that in 6 minutes and 30 seconds if you just take one of the faster rally rate cars. You can go over the land if you want, but you can just stay on the road. It is possible to do it over the road, although it's rally rate. Travel from Holbrook to Dallas in less than 8 minutes with a rally rate vehicle. That's a bit tricky. You want to have a look on the map first to find your route, because there are a bunch of canyon rocks here and there, and you need to find a gap between them at 2 occasions, I think. Because otherwise, if you take the wrong route, you're completely stuck, and yeah, then you don't make it in 8 minutes. And you cannot go around the rock because that takes too long. So you need to find one of those 2 gaps. Chicago to Detroit in a hovercraft. Yeah, that is take the shortest route possible, because that's a bit of a tricky one. Do not go over the north, over the bridge. It will not count. It's too long. You basically have to start on the museum in Chicago there, on the beach there, and you just in a straight line go eastwards. You will come on another beach, you fly through the woods and then into Detroit City. That is just doable in 2 minutes. It's a pretty sharp one, that one. Travel from Nashville to Salt Lake City in less than 8 minutes and 30 seconds. Apparently seemed to be a problem for some people. I got it from the first go. It mainly has to do with speed. Make sure you are in the right plane. I think I was in the Zivco the first time and I got it from the first time. But I heard some other people trying in the Harmon or whatever. That thing has not speed enough. You don't make it. So make sure you have the fastest plane that you have available. Otherwise you do not make that. It's a pretty straight line, Nashville to Salt Lake with a plane. Travel from Washington to St. Louis in less than 11 minutes in a jet sprint. Also here, take a look on the map. It's not that hard to do, but you need to take a look on the map where you want to go over which river, because there are not that many options. And sometimes the river splits up and then you need to know where to go. You can always stop and look on the map for those things. But of course, if you open the map, also take in consideration that takes time. If you open the map for 20 seconds, that will consider to be time that you need for those 11 minutes. Travel New York City to San Francisco, less than 48 minutes with a powerboat. Yeah, that's obviously something that you can combine with the other thing where you needed to travel from New York to San Francisco. And not do it like I did it. I first did it by car from New York because I was doing these things in order. And then I do that thing by car, New York, San Francisco, and then we do the next one and the next one, and then I came here. And then I have to do it again in a powerboat. That is a bit of a problem though, this one. As I will show you. There's another one that goes from Miami to San Francisco. Miami to San Francisco is pretty much over here. You take this southern river here, like this, and then you go up to San Francisco. That's fine. The New York one, you sort of take the North River this time. New York to San Francisco. You follow that river here, go towards Seattle, and then you come down to San Francisco. The problem is over here on the Lake Fight Demolition Derby arena. A bit right of it is a dam, and you come over that river. You can go also over this river and then go over Las Vegas and then try to get to San Francisco. That also works, but that's a bit of a mismatch. The best way is to go over the Seattle one, but then you come into the problem here. There's a dam over here, and yeah, there's something went wrong here, I think. Dear devs, there are 2 ramps coming from San Francisco side. There is no ramp if you come from the New York side, which means you run into that dam here. You have no ramp. So what you need to do is you can't switch vehicles because then you break the sequence for your 48-minute trip in a boat. So you need to stay in the boat. There is a rock here a bit on the right here. Also there is one here as well. So your only way is try to get some speed, hit that rock and hope that your boat flies high enough so that you go over the dam and actually finish here somewhere, and then you can move on. So that is New York, San Francisco by boat is a bit of a problem here. That's why I have a water jump record here now. Because, you know, I have to jump over that thing. So that is that's the only problem. Other than that, you have to open the map a couple of times because the river splits up a few times, so you need to make sure that you know where you are going. Where were we? The boating, right? New York, yep. This is the other one, Miami to San Francisco by boat. Then you take the Southern River, works fine. Here you have 40 minutes, so you have 8 minutes less, but it's also a shorter trip, so should be able to do that. I do advise you that some of these things, some of these rivers are pretty narrow. Some have low bridges. I do advise you to not take some big ass boat like the Frauscher, although I really know that that thing is the fastest. You're gonna get stuck on bridges here and there, or it's even too wide to get to narrow passages. Personally, I did it with the Proto Offshore Mark 1. That is also the boat for new players that you get free. You can use that, works fine. With the Frauscher, you're gonna have some problems here and there because that thing is too wide. Too big of a boat. Las Vegas to Seattle. Touring car. Not a problem, you can do that. Detroit to Dallas in less than 5 minutes with an air race plane. Again, Detroit, Dallas. That's why you want to combine that. You want to combine this one. You take the air race plane, you go from Detroit to Dallas, you switch to a street race vehicle, you go within 3 minutes from Dallas to New Orleans, and you have 3 hobbies at once. You have Detroit, Dallas by plane, less than 5 minutes. You have Dallas, New Orleans street race bike in less than 3 minutes. And you also have travel from Detroit to Dallas. That's another hobby, just you need to travel from Detroit to Dallas. So that's 3 in a row if you do them in a row. But if you combine those, you can do them in one go. It's one road trip. That's why you, if you still need to start doing these things, read all of these because you can combine a bunch. Miami to New York in less than 5 minutes with an Alpha GP. Pretty much doable. In the technical test, this was 3 minutes or 3 minutes and a half, which was pretty sharp. So they gave you a few extra minutes to get it done. So for sure, works. So a bunch of road trips. Also this, quite enjoy this one. Bunch of road trips. Explore some stuff, find some stuff. All good and fine. Interesting one. Collector, okay. Explorer, okay. Now we come to the racer. I'm more of a racer, I'm more of a competitive guy. I enjoyed Explorer and Collector way more than the racer, because the racer is one hell of a grind. And some of those things are a bit exaggerated. The first line here, street racing, off-road, freestyle, pro racing, you need to do 20 events. That is a very low number. Don't have to worry about that. They should have switched that with some other things that they come up with later. This like street racing, there are 50 races already in street racing. You need to finish 20 of these. It's a piece of cake. They just should have counted the finish all street racing events or something like that. Prove your love by playing events. That is 1 day or 24 hours. I think it was 1 hour for level 1 and then 3 or 6 hours for level 2, 12 hours for level 3 and 24 hours or 1 day for level 4. Checkpoints. In PvP you have to play PvE, also PvP later will come back. You have to play PvE and that's not something you need to do specifically. if you do all these racing events and pro racing and all that, you will go through checkpoints anyway, and it will count. Not exactly sure how many. I think it was 1500 that you had to go through, but you go through 1500 checkpoints before you know it. That is not something you have to worry about. Safe distance, on the other hand, you have to drive without collision in an event, and you need to do that for 100 kilometers. And what they forgot to mention here, it needs to be in a single event. In other words, this is not accumulative, not at all. It does not add up. If you do 60 kilometers today and you do 61 tomorrow, then the thing will show you 61 and not 121. And that completely limits your options, because there is only one event which is long enough to do that in, and that is New York. New York Hypercar Race is the only one that you can do this in. It says without collision, so you think, okay, I overtake these drivatars and I'm good to go. No. It is without collision of anything. You cannot hit a light post, a car, a pedestrian, an animal, you name it, you can't hit anything. So you're gonna have to play this very safe ball. You do not have to win the event or anything. The drivatars take about 40 minutes or so, I think, over that trip. That's what you need to worry about, basically, because you need to do it 100 kilometers is quite a while, and you need to drive carefully because you can't hit anything. So there are a few options here. You turn around at the start and you drive to Long Island, and you do a couple of laps there. That's what I did. The problem is it's a bit boring after a while, and you do a little bit of lack of attention. You get nighttime, you get snow, and while you're doing that, if you do it like I did, I tapped the wall on Long Island and I had 99.1 kilometers. That was a bit frustrating because that meant it didn't count and I had to do it again for 100 kilometers. So the second time I drove way slower, and I just make sure that I stayed in the middle of the road. I think I drove like at 350 kilometers an hour, and it took me like 34 minutes to complete the 100 kilometers. Of course, you can go way faster, but with the risk, it's a bit bumpy, that Long Island track. So another option is you drive. Of course, you first need to look on the map where to drive, because you can't open your map in that event. You can also drive to the Jersey track. That is also an oval, a bit easier, not so bumpy, and it's also longer. That's option number 2. Option number 3 is you can drive slowly the first 20-21% of the New York race, and that's when you will arrive on a Little Eagle, which is a 5 kilometer oval. So you can go on that and then start doing your laps there. As long as you don't hit anything. That's more risky, obviously, because then you need to drive the first 20% without hitting anything, and with drivatars trying to attack you, and so you're never sure. So Long Island or New Jersey, or the Jersey track, probably the better option. You can of course say, no, I just follow the route of New York, San Francisco, and drive slowly. With the risk that there's suddenly a bear popping up out of the wood and he hits your car, you can start over again. So that's up. The only thing which is important here is it needs to be in one single event. So only New York is eligible for this one. Then, yeah. This was made up by a pretty casual dev or a drunk dev, I don't know, one of the two, but you need to lose events in PvE, apparently. And as a matter of fact, I think it was only one. So yeah, what this thing is doing here, I have no idea. Win street race events with a Nissan or a Mitsubishi is 150. This is also one of these things that not make much sense to me. The first thing is you need to just finish 20 events, only 20 events. And then here they want you to do 150 with a Nissan wins. You need to win it. You can do it in PvP though. I did most of them in PvP because I find PvE boring as hell against those drivatars. So I just raced. I did a couple of PvP nights, and I just drove as much as I could Nissan or Mitsubishi and tried to get some wins out of it. Of course, that is just because I am who I am, but the easy way, of course, is you do a normal mode with a fully upgraded car. You go into some activities and you just smoke those drive tars with a Nissan or a Mitsubishi, but that's a bit boring if you have to do it 150 times. So I rather enjoyed playing a bit of PvP and race some friends, have some fun, win or lose, we will see. Fastest way, of course, is activities, but I did it in PvP. And now we come to these things. I kept them open as long as I could. You need to win drift events in Lamborghini or Koenigsegg, rallycross in a Ford or a Citroën. 4 levels, you need 50. Boring as hell, the powerboat, but I had no other choice than to do it because it was combined with trimming with a boat above 200 kilometers an hour. So I had no other choice than this morning I needed 20 more of these pisspot boat races. So it was just like put your brain at 0 and go. On my other screen I was watching some stream or something, and meanwhile I did 20 times Uber Dam. Boring as hell. These things, these are not thought of. They should make you do like do all events with all different boats or something like that. Just once, instead of doing 50 times the powerboat event using a Vector or DCB. There are only like 10 events. The shortest is Uber Dam, so people are just grinding Uber Dam like crazy. It's boring as hell. This is not pretty much thought of. Win an air race with a Mustang or a Pilatus, the same story. Yeah? There are 11 air race events. You need to get 50. So you need to do at least each one 4 times, 5 times. Would have even make more sense if it was just set like do every event in normal mode, do every event in hardcore mode, and do every event in ace mode. That would have been making more sense than doing 50 times the same pisspot track, because that's what people do anyway. Like the powerboats, some of these tracks are 2 minutes, 2 minutes and a half, whatever. Uber Dam is 1 minute and 20 or something. Yeah, everybody does Uber Dam, but it's boring if you have to do that 20, 30 times in a row. Even if you spread it out over a couple of days, you still have to do 5 or 10 a day because you need to get 50. And that's for all of these things here. Drift in a Lamborghini, rallycross in a Citroën or Ford. Rally rate with a bike, those are pretty slow, the bikes, the rally rate. And those rally rate events are pretty long, so it's like, yeah. I did 30. Because I needed that level 3 of that thing, but I did not do level 4. I still have that open. That's something you will get that you play some summit and you need to do a rally rate event with a bike. And you win it in the summit against those normal. That's all very fine, but it's just boring. It's boring. Makes no sense. Same for air race and powerboat, Victor or DCB. Then we have a few that I found more interesting ones. You only need to do it once, but they are more interesting than those 50 times this or that, you know. You need to win a demolition derby race without catching any bonus. That means that you need to do a lot of ramming to get your points, because otherwise you could pick up a damage bonus which gives you 10,000 points and stuff like that. You could not pick up any bonus. Luckily it was only one because I don't want to play demolition derby, but in this case, just for once, why not? Same here, beat the target score without catching any bonus in an event in the monster truck. That was a bit of an interesting one, because it's hanging full of points that you can jump through, and you couldn't, because you cannot take any bonus, so you cannot jump through any of these points. So I think I did it on the first monster truck activity that you find in your list. And on the side, either left or right of the side, when you start, you go left or right, there is a little ramp there, and there is not a points marker hanging there. So you can jump there, do a backflip, turn around, do a backflip, and then try to get enough points out of those backflips and spinnings that you're doing there. Try to get enough points so that you can beat the target score. Of course, target score, that means it's advisable to do that in normal mode, because that will give you the lowest score that you need to get. You can try doing it in ace mode, but then your scores, you're gonna need to score more. So win powerboat events with a vector or a DCB 50 times. Yeah, we done that already. Then we have checkpoints again, just like in PvE, also in PvP, in the live battle thing. You need to do also here. I think it was 1500 checkpoints that you had to go through. So got that one. Finish live battle events. I'm not so sure. Was it 50 or 100 that you needed to finish? I think it was only 50 because I had that one pretty quickly. And we'd done some extra PvP yesterday, so I got 200 events done now in PvP. So yeah, this one, no idea what's happening here. Finish fourth in PvP events. You need to do that 30 times. That is something, yeah. The PvP is supposed to be the multiplayer racing, which is in a way a form of competition, next to the summit, which is competition format on itself. But also PvP is supposed to be a bit of competitive racing, not some casual cruise around. You're supposed to drive to win, you know. If you do a race, you try to win. You do not try to finish fourth. If you finish fourth, most of the cases, you're going to find a lobby of 5-6 people. If you finish fourth, let's say you are a platinum driver, you finish fourth, you lose 11 points. And they want to do it 30 times. So for those, we all know that the league doesn't mean anything, but if you just want to keep your league or anything, you cannot do that in a row, because you lose 11 points 30 times, that's 300 points, then it means you lose like 3 leagues. You drop from Platinum 1 to Platinum 4 if you want to do this one. So, don't know who came up with this one, but that is something not very well thought of. Finish fourth. Drive cars in event, that was 3,000 kilometers, I think. Now, in general, people are driving cars, so I have 6,000, as you can see, so that's just, it's not a big deal. On a bike, that's already a different story, because also on a bike, it's 3,000 kilometers. Not everybody likes to drive a bike. Now, a bike people can live with. Boat and planes, on the other hand, that's more critical. There are a lot of people out there who don't like the boats. And if you, especially power boats, or then they prefer the jet springs, but those things are smaller to play around with, so they are more fun, but they're also slower. And slower means you don't get those kilometers that fast. And also in boats and also in planes, you need 3,000 kilometers. That's quite a lot. If you go from New York to San Francisco, from the east to the west of the map, it's about 150 kilometers. You need to do that 20 times in a plane, 20 times in a boat. That sort of gives you an idea what 3,000 kilometers is. So if you really want to grind for that quickly, as you can see, I also left them open. You will get that thing over time, because you participate in summits, you go with boats and planes, you will get that over time. But 3,000 kilometers... in a car, I can understand it, maybe in a bike, but the planes and the boats, they should have made that 1,000 kilometers or so. There are a lot of people who don't even touch the plane, so it's another one not really thought of. The racer category, we're gonna have a few of these things. That's why I enjoyed the collector and explorer way more than the racer category. The race category was a pure grind, and I like that actually. It's well, like in such a way, I like to put time and effort into a game, not like getting stuff from a wheel spins or so, like in Forza. Or Need for Speed. Yeah, there you just need to pay for things. So that's like a different story. But putting in some time and effort, that's fine. But don't make it boringly repetitive. Like do 50 boring power boats. Make that a bit. Switch it up with like. Drive all the boats, or use all the planes, or something like that. That would be more variation and more enjoyable than doing the same. And this is also something like fly 3,000 kilometers. Over time you eventually will get it, I guess, but for those who are trying to get the car and want to get it now, that's a lot of flying that they have to do. put it on 2000 or 1500 kilometers. 1500 kilometers is level 3. For a plane, I think that would have been good enough for level 4, basically. But then you have, on the other hand, then you have next to that, this was like, here you need to drive 3000 kilometers to get 10 stars. And here, you need to drive 5 seconds to get 10 stars. Because you just need 550 kilometers an hour top speed. Basically, take a drag car, go straight, hit the nitro, and you have 10 stars. While the one next to that, that sort of compares the super easy ones with the super tough ones. The other one is drive 3000 kilometers. That's a bit... Same here for off-road. Target speed is 300 kilometers an hour. As you can see, we have 474 because that's the kind of speed that you get if you flying in the air and you switch to an off-road vehicle. While you're hanging in the air, then you get that kind of speed. Reach the target speed with water. Water was also 300 kilometers an hour. You can easily get that in the Frauscher. The Frauscher goes over 400 kilometers an hour, so that's not a problem. And the airspeed is 450 kilometers an hour that you need to get. That's something that you can do when you're climbing up the 4.4 kilometer for that other hobby. If you come down again, you already have that. These are things, half a minute to a minute, you can do those 4 top speed things. And it gives you 40 stars. I think, yeah, because it's possible it's just like what's 4 star, but I don't think so. Seeing it's a 4 stage one, that's usually 10 stars. Drive on the roads with an asphalt car in events. That was, I think, 3000 kilometers, I think. Yeah. So yeah, that is sort of combinable with drive cars in events. And here you have to do a road with an asphalt car. So this is specifically with... this one is drive cars in events, so you can use rally raid, you can use touring car, Alpha GP, whatever you want. This is more on the road, so you cannot use rally raid, you can't use rally cross. So this is separately for the other categories, which are mostly used anyway. So most people get those two, they are sort of connected in a way. Unless you're a real off-road fan. You also need to drive off the roads with an off-road car. Yeah, that basically means that you go a bit off the GPS line in a way. You go a bit more to the right or to the left. Or in a rallycross you go a bit in the grass. That's what that thing is. I think it was 500 kilometers in... Not 100% sure. I have 700 kilometers meanwhile. Because I was yesterday grinding those... Rallycross and rally raid events. I got a lot of that stuff from there already. Spend time in the air with a bike. Yeah, you need 1 hour of air time. I got 34 minutes in 2 weeks time, so yeah, to give you an idea. You can of course go to... needs to be an event, so it's not, you cannot go to a monster arena or so, but you can do a motocross or so. You have a bunch of ramps. You can do... serial jumpers with the touring car bike, for instance. Should also count there if you're hanging in the air. Spend time inverted flights in events. It's also 1 hour, and that is what we just did earlier to get the Mazda. I needed a few more, 20 seconds or something more. I needed to get level 2, which gives me 2 stars, and I had 648. That's why I just have exactly 650 stars now. So level 3 is 30 minutes, level 4 is 1 hour. Stay above 250 kilometers an hour in events with the bike. I have a bit more than an hour, level 4 is 2 hours. So yeah, that's something that will come over time. Same for the boat. Trimming, which we are mostly doing. Leaning backwards with the bike, with the boat. That's trimming. So yeah, you need needs to be above 200 kilometers an hour. Most of the time you're doing that in a powerboat because those races are boring as hell. Obviously, don't try to get this in a jet sprint because these things barely make 200 kilometers an hour. You have to play with your settings to get that thing to 200 kilometers an hour. So, and you're not going to be that constant as with a powerboat. So that's one for the powerboats. This one. Overtake opponents in street racing without collision is 500. You can do that in PvE, but you can also do that in PvP. The street race lobby is ghosting, but you can overtake your opponents nevertheless, although you drive straight through them, so you will definitely not hit them, so it will definitely be without collision. Also something they did not really think of, did they? You could just drive some PvP basically and you can get the 5. I think I had it on day 1, I think. Did a bit of PvP for a couple of hours and I had 500 overtakes. Because you just drive through them, it's considered an overtake without collision. Overtake opponents in off-road, yeah, same story. Also here you need 500. I have 150 there because I didn't do that much off-road. Overtake opponents in freestyle is a bit more tricky because most of the time you're driving against the time. So in freestyle you're gonna have to look to some events where you have opponents. That is, for instance, in Jet Sprint, the Las Vegas Waterway, there are 3 boats there. You just have to overtake them, you do not need to win those events. So that means do it in normal mode with a fully upgraded boat. You overtake 3 of them, you just wait, let them pass again, you can overtake them again. Another event is go against the flow. That's like a pretty long track and you have to do 2 laps on it. You can probably overtake them like 10 times in that race. So then you can get 30 overtakes in that race. Another one is Monster Truck. You have the White Mountains Dirt Race. You also have opponents there that you can overtake. You just need to look a bit. In freestyle you need to Wreck and Havoc is another one. But also there are 3 other Monster Trucks. So you don't have much choice there. So it's not that interesting. I would go for some Jet Sprint event and just let them pass, overtake them again, let them pass, overtake them again. You probably can get like 15, 20 overtakes in one event. You also need 500 in freestyle, so. And the same in pro racing, 500 overtakes without collision. Now, yesterday, for instance, there was an interesting playlist from the community in PvP. So yesterday you could get a lot of that stuff because it had all kind of different events: street race, rally car, rally cross, motocross, hypercar, powerboat, jet sprint, whatever was in there. 1 or 2 events of each. Was a complete mixed playlist, but there were no collisions on. Community playlist. I think it was even my playlist. If I need to check that what I actually put together one day or another. They are using some players could put some lists together, and they are using this under the community playlist thing. I had one. Some other TPC members had one. They had the Spanish community made one. The Discord made one, I think. So it's like several playlists that they are using, and on Wednesday and Saturday, I believe, that they put it in there. But some of them have collisions on, but this one did not. So it was a quite interesting one for the hobbies. Use nitro in events, 3 hours. You need in total. The same for the air nitro. Now, using nitro, you do a lot. Using air nitro, on the other hand, you only get a few seconds every time that you use that thing in the air there. I have 19 minutes now in about 2 weeks and a half that we have these hobbies. You need also here 3 hours of that shit. So yeah, you can spam serial jumpers, or you can do sand dunes in rally rate or something if you want to get that stuff done, but I can't be bothered with that because for me that trash is game breaking. So that's probably one that I leave open. Near miss traffic vehicles, not 100% sure. I think it was 150, maybe 200. Spend time in slipstream or rear bump in an asphalt event. That is something you pretty quickly, once you start doing those events for the, you need 50 of this and 50 of that, so yeah, you get slipstream or rear bump very often. Complete 10 front flips in motocross events. It says in motocross events. Have they changed that? I'm pretty sure it's set in one single event. So I did that in the Wolf territory. There's a ramp there. You don't need to win that event. You just need to get 10 front flips. But it might be possible that they have changed that. But you could do that there. You have three big ramps there. You do a front flip, you turn around, you do a front flip again, you turn around. You could just get it done with in 10. Rally rate event. You needed, I think, was it 1.6 kilometer or 1 mile that you needed to do a wheelie. So yeah, that is basically, ignore the event itself. It's one of those things. I don't know where they come up with these things, but normally if somebody starts a race, they want to win that race. But yeah, here you need to go slowly, do a wheelie, constantly, the whole race, constantly do wheelies, because you need it about a mile or so, I think. I think it was 1.6 kilometers that they wanted. Distance in the air in a single rallycross event, that was 800 meters. You can do that on the American Petrol race, where you have the big ski jump in 2 laps. If you do it in some light car like the Citroen C3 or so, if you air nitro boost on the ski jump, you can get 410 meters. And it's 2 laps, so you can do it 2 times. So you can get 800 meters in a single event on that American Petrol race rallycross. Distance on the ground in a single jet sprint vehicle, I think that was 1 kilometer, or was it also 1 mile, 1.6 kilometers? Easily to get on Everglades. If you go on Everglades, you take all the jumps which are off-road, you cut some corners here and there, sliding over the grass, then you can get it in that event. That's like a 3-4 minute event. If you do it, you don't need to win it, so you can just do it slowly. Make sure you have enough. Make the cut a bit bigger than you normally would. Even you can use some back on track and then go again over that grass. You just need that distance on the grass. So Everglades is probably, that's the longest track, so that's probably the best one to do it on. Keep your car or bike above 300 kilometers an hour for 10 seconds. Yeah, that's a pretty easy one. Keep your boat above 300 kilometers. Also a pretty easy one. You do that always. It's 20 seconds in a boat, but you can easily do that on Uber then. Keep your plane above 300 kilometers for 10 seconds. Again, even aerobatic planes go faster than 300 kilometers, so not that hard to get these things. Alpha GP 300 kilometers an hour, 1 minute. Easy. Drive in a crew of 4. Here you do need a full crew. You need to drive above 250 kilometers in formation in free drive. You can combine that, for instance, with the 250 kilometer circuit on Little Eagle. Do that in a crew. You can have some laughs and some jump while you're doing 55 laps on that thing. You can get the slipstream from that in a crew. You can get the formation in a crew. There are a few hobbies that are connected if you just do it in a crew. And here you have, I think that was 1 hour or so. Slipstream or rear bump in an event in a crew. Sort of connected. These two you can connect if you go to Little Eagle and combine it with the classic music 250 kilometers or so. Win events with only crew members on the podium. I believe that is 250. We tried it a couple of times with just one friend, with 2 people. That does not count. You need a full podium. So you need 1, 2 and 3. You need at least 3 people. Now to get that podium, it's not that hard to do, but that just means you need to find a team who is willing to do 250 races. Overtake opponents without collision in a live battle. Mix playlist. Yeah, like I said, yesterday's playlist had some was ghosting, so you just drove through them. The only thing there was like, I had a few lobbies where there were some bronze people in there. We started the race, I was in the lead and I never came out of the lead. Then of course you don't have any overtakes. So yeah, you sort of have to lose again, I guess. Or wait till everybody started and then go over them. You need 250 there also for level 4. Reach the target speed in live battle, so that's with PvP. I think that was 400 kilometers or so. I think 400 kilometers an hour for level 4. Because unlike the other one where you need the top speed in free drive, there you can just use a drag car. In PvP, you don't have drag cars. Drag and air race is not in PvP, so those are not speeds that you can get in there. I think it was 400 kilometers. Maybe 450 in case you can use hypercar there. So maybe 450 was the top speed. I have 505, so we did I don't know, probably big land or so where we reached over 500 kilometers an hour. Reach a target speed and win a street racing event. Yeah, I have 662 kilometers an hour, so obviously just do a drag event. Reach the target speed and win the off-road event. 363 kilometers an hour. There's gotta be some downhill here or there. Reach the target speed and win an off-road event. I don't even know where I got that 363 kilometers an hour. There's no off-road that goes 363 kilometers an hour. We did some event at oh yeah, there is somewhere you go downhill super fast. You might actually get those speeds, although your speedometer doesn't tell you that, but 360. Target speed and win a freestyle event, 378 I got. If you have to do some nose dive or something, you reach those kind of speeds. And in pro racing, same story. 480 kilometers an hour is, for instance, something you can get in Alpha GP. I don't know what it was. It's probably 400 as well here. I have 480, but probably the level 4 was 400. Win a street race event in ace difficulty without nitro. Yeah, that is just if you know the roads. A bit of braking points and make sure you get your line straight, and then you don't need nitro. Win a drift event in ace difficulty without breaking the combo multiplier. Yeah, that is more or less what we do every week in summits. So that is like that was easy peasy. Might be difficult for others. Not that good in drift. Yeah, then you might have a problem with that. Win a drag race event with only perfect starts and perfect gear shift. That was a bit of a problem, especially seeing play with keyboard. Yeah, it's either full boost, full throttle or no throttle, and full shift or no shift. So it's either it works or it doesn't. I couldn't do it. I could not do it with the fully upgraded Chevrolet Stingray, for instance. So eventually, what I did was I thought, okay, I need to find a car which shifts slower, so that I can get it easier. And I switched to something like a stock rough. So you only need to get the perfect start and the first shift. If you can get that perfect, then you can also get the second and the third gear switch, because those goes slower if you use a stock car. You can easily get that. The only thing with that is you basically need the perfect run. You need to get it 3 times in a row, and you cannot restart. You can restart the first run, but once you have a perfect finish, then you need to also get the second and the third run perfect. Otherwise this thing does not count. And you cannot retry the second run or the third run, only the first one. So that was a bit of a few tries. Win by less than 100 points in aerobatics. Yeah, that is a bit of counting the points, I guess. I was just lucky I got it from the first go. You might have to skip a playlist here and there and make sure that you fly straight, because you can't make any maneuvers because you're scoring points. You can get air drift, you can get night flight. Just make sure that once you have you need 6,000 points, you have 6,050. Yeah, just fly straight, let the plane do its thing till the time is up, because you need to have less than 100 points difference with what you need to reach. Win a touring car event with at least 1,000 meters in slipstream. Yeah, that was something you pretty much follow the AIs or whatever. Or you can do the Shabon Cup, 8 laps on an oval. You're for sure gonna get slipstream in that one. Spend time in first position in races. Yeah, I spent quite some time in first position apparently, almost 16 hours. I think you only needed like 1 hour or so. But yeah, yesterday we won most of the races in PvP and also in PvE. Obviously, you spend a lot of time in first place. That 1 hour in first place, that might look long time, but it actually isn't. Once you start doing some activities, even in PvP, you can spend a lot of time in first place. Win a drift event with all crew members above 100,000. Obviously, make a crew with people who can drift. Then that is like, yeah, I did it with like low focus. We did like 2 runs. One I won. Just make sure that one run you have higher points than your teammate, and the second run the other guy, right? Simple and easy. Aerobatics, same story. Make sure you have somebody who knows what to do with the plane. And as soon as you have 6,000 people, one of you has 6,000 points, you stop scoring points and let the other ones score some points. And the second round, you do it the other way around. This is like, yeah, these were things we did 2 times. Win a monster truck event with all crew members above 25,000 points. You can just drive and jump through the points. For instance, in Death Valley, the Las Vegas arena, you will score 28, 29, 30,000 points. Especially if you have some gifted on the truck, obviously. You can easily get that. So as soon as you have 25,000 points, you stop, let your teammates score a bit more points. Quick and easy. And then you do it again so that you can win as well. So make sure that everybody in the team wins. You have to do a couple of runs depending on the number of people you have in your crew. Beat your opponents by less than a second in a PvP race. Yeah, that is also a piece of a cake. Well, in such a way you have to win, but very often you have people in your slipstream, very often they are within a second. You can get that. Where were we? Win a PvP race with a 10 seconds margin, on the other hand. You're gonna have to drive a little bit faster, and you're gonna have to be a bit lucky that you have some dumbasses in your lobby, or complete new players who don't know the tracks. You can get on tracks like which are pretty technical, like Coral Gables or so. You can get 10 seconds on, even on the Strip North. I got 10 seconds a couple of times. If you just happen to be in a new players lobby or so, yeah, then it's easy. If you have, of course, a couple of Platinum 1 drivers, Platinum 2 drivers showing up who know every track inside out, there's no way you're gonna win with 10 seconds difference. If you're already gonna win, because you need to win it and you need to have 10 seconds difference. I had yesterday, at a certain moment I had a pretty easy lobby. I get 15 seconds, 13 seconds and 12 seconds. Was Saturday morning. Some kids, they stay. Unlike in the night, if you beat some guys 15 seconds, half of the lobby leaves the lobby. That is how PvP is in this game. But if you do it on Saturday morning, Sunday morning, you have a bunch of kids that just want to play, they stay in the lobby. And you can just beat them. But then one of the next races, we had some gold and platinum people joining the lobby. Yeah, then you can forget about that, because they will just follow you or even beat you. You're never going to get 10 seconds on those players, because they know the tracks. So you can, of course, cheese it a bit and do it in a crew. I didn't do you need 20 to get it complete. I did all 20 just in public PvP, so it is possible. Beat the rival in street racing events. Yeah, pretty much in every of the races that you do, you beat Theo. And the same goes for Tuck in off-road, Sophia in freestyle, and Clarence over there in pro racing. Hover skill, slalom better than the rival with the hovercraft in a ground skill. Make sure you read that correctly. Don't try doing that on the water or something. It needs to be a slalom. It needs to be an off-road skill test. And it needs to be on the ground. It doesn't specifically say that it is off-road. But it's in orange hovercraft. That kind of suggests you need to do it. What do we do? Again, Death Valley, Las Vegas, Monster Truck Arena. You can go there. I would advise you to not take a Speedster or a double X big ass hovercraft. Just take the smaller ones. Something like the XK Armored or the Bumblebee X. Those will just fine on that slalom in the Monster Arena, and you can beat stuck with it. Beat any friend's highlight, yeah. You need 100 in total. And that is something that they, yeah, again. This is made up by somebody who did not play the game. It's as simple as that. This is something like, they come up with these things up there on the office and they think like, oh, that's a good idea. But these are people that do not play the game, because otherwise you would know that it's practically impossible. Thanks for the follow. You cannot beat that. I can check all the friends highlights that I find. You cannot beat that. Why is that? Because I have some devs on the friends list who have been testing certain things which are impossible to do. Cannot beat them. I have some people who have been testing glitches. They're impossible to beat. So basically you have people doing 720 kilometers an hour in reverse or something, or they are jumping 5 kilometers into the ocean. Yeah, these are non-beatable highlights. I cannot beat any single one on my whole map. So the only way that I can get this stuff done is that I clean out my whole friends list, throw off everybody who is experienced and know what they're doing, and just keep 2 or 3 people who are completely new to the game and have low scores, so that you can beat them. But if you have some experienced, even if it's legit, even if it's just like a speed trap, and they've done it with a crew, they have 720 kilometers an hour, that's the top speed of any vehicle in this game. Yeah, you cannot beat them. You can't do 721 because the car limits out at 719.9, which scores 720. So yeah, not gonna happen this one, eh? Ivory Tower. Unless they expect us to clean up everybody in the friends list. That cannot be the idea. So this one, yeah, they need to come up with some solution for this, or they just need to take it out, because as far as I know, unless you're completely new to and you just have a few friends, you might be able to get it, but I haven't met any of the experienced players yet who has 100 of those things beaten. Beat the friend in any skill leaderboard, yeah. If you have enough friends that every time you do a skill test you beat one of them, here or there. Beat the friend in a leaderboard, in an event leaderboard, same story. If you do some race or so, you will be faster than one of your friends, so it's just a friend here that you need to beat. Here you need to go faster than the rival through a speed trap using a plane. Yeah, that is just try to find a speed trap where you can easily go through with a plane. If you can make it through, like for instance, north of Las Vegas on the highway, there you have a speed trap. You can easily fly through a plane with that. You're always gonna beat the rival, which is Theo, in because he drives in a hypercar. And not even that fast in normal mode or so. So it's like, yeah, with a plane you go over 400 kilometers an hour, you just beat them. Finish the summit, yeah, bronze, silver, gold, platinum. Some people are complaining on the forums every week that they can't reach platinum, so somehow or another you're gonna have to make it. And the same, reach the top 1000 of a summit event and reach the top 1000 of a summit skill. These things do not count unless you have finished the 9 events first. You first have the 9 events, you finish those, and then these 2 will count if you do it again. So you sort of have to do it 2 times after you finished the whole 9 events. Reach the podium in the live battle street racing playlist, it's 50 times. Reach the podium in the live battle playlist mix is 100 times. Not sure what happened here, but I think these 2 need to be switched, because the street racing is the one that everybody plays. The battle play mix list, his collisions on, nobody plays it. We had a mix on Friday, I think. I tried several times, I could not even find a lobby. People do not pay collisions on. Some people do, but not that very often. So most of the time you just don't find a lobby. Yesterday it worked, because yesterday it was the community playlist and it has no collisions on. Then it works. If you have collisions on, so yeah, this is like something wrong here. Because you need 50 in the playlist that everybody plays, you need 50 podiums. in the playlist that nobody plays, you need 100 podiums. Or is this their incentive way of trying to get people to play that playlist with collisions on? We've told them 100 times, put the collisions on, switch it up, or make 2 playlists, one with collisions on, one with collisions off, exactly the same. Then you will see what people want to play. This makes no sense to me. I think this should have been the other way around. 100 podiums in the street racing and 100 podiums and 50 podiums in the mix. They did it this way. Okay. Yeah, same as in the summit. Depends on how good you are, obviously. If you're good enough, you have no problems at reaching platinum in the summit, and the same in PvP. Because also that is the same story. You need bronze in PvP, you need the silver rank in PvP, you need the gold rank in PvP, and also the platinum rank. Now, of course, you can cheese it a bit in PvP. Unlike in the summit, either you're good enough or you're not. In PvP, you can cheese it a bit because you have demolition derby. You can ram heavy, but you can be a good rammer, nothing to do with racing, but you can get to platinum in demolition derby. And then that last one here is one that they added this week. So they will add some every week, a couple of new hobbies coming. So which of course means that more and more people will eventually get like this thing, escape further than the rival with a Ford touring car. Yeah, that's not that hard to do. You need to do it 10 times and you get 4 stars or even 10 stars for it, I don't know. So yeah, if they're gonna add a few of these easier ones over time, then everybody will for sure make it to the cars. So yeah, all in all, a bunch of stuff to do. Obviously, you don't need to grind like crazy. Some people get it in like a couple of days. I spread it out a little bit, but still pretty hardcore being grinding. So I have it now in, a week and a half or so, and I have the 3 cars in my garage. But it is based on, let's say, an average casual player should be able to get it in 2-3 months. Should have the 3 cars in the garage. That's where it was based, a sort of a mix of a few hardcores, but yeah, I don't think they understand the hardcores very well. Because I'm guessing that a dev's hardcore vision is do 3,000 kilometers in the same car or in a boat, or that is, yeah. We were talking about a bit more challenging things to do, which are still doable, but make it a bit harder to do. Not do 3,000 kilometers or do 50 times using the same boat, the same Uber dam track, because that's what eventually happens in the power boat. Because the other tracks are too long, takes too long, they just do Uber dam and over and over and over like some idiot with no brain, it's like, no. Overall, it's a good thing. It is a bit grindy, but is it really? I mean, that is that's the cruise style. You don't get things from wheel stands here, you don't need to pay for it. With micro transitions like you have NSF or whatever. Here you just have to grind. We know that once you do the grind, you put in the time and the effort, you will get it. It's as simple as that. It was in the beginning, it was like that. Eventually we got the yellow parts, we all got the yellow sets. They even made it a bit easier over time by putting some stuff in the summit that you get like completely recalibrated sets. We in the beginning we had to grind for the sets, do the recalibration, or spend millions of bucks on it to get the sets together. Now you just get them in the summit, but it's always have been. Also in the Crew 1 you had to go through the story, play all those things, try to get level 50, later on level 60 parts. You put them on all your cars. But then the difference there was of course that you could go to a tuner shop. Once you unlock those parts, you could go to a tuner shop and you say like, okay, I want this part with this bonus on it, and you give me 7 of those and that's it. Unfortunately, we don't have that here. Because I would have no problem with it going to a tuner shop and say like, I want a Nitro Chemist, I want Pure 8 and I want Extra Pump 10 on it, give it to me. And the next time I go in there, give me a Nitro Chemist and I want Pure 8 and Bender 10 on it for my bike. What's the price? You pay 400,000 or 500,000 for it, fine, pay it, get a set, and you have your set together. Now you need to do this recalibration trash, yeah. Not the best system in the world, let's put it that way. But other than that, it was always a grind for the parts, as well in the Crew 1 as in the Crew 2. So that's the way. It's grindy. It is put time and effort into it, you get rewarded, and then you can do whatever. At the same time, you make bucks. With those bucks, you can buy cars. You don't get cars from wheel spins here, you just buy them. You can earn them by doing the hobbies. You can earn them by doing summits, try to get in the platinum. That is how this game works and always will work. If there ever is a degree 3 or 4 or whatever, it will probably be the same. That's the style of the franchise. That's also why we like it, at least some of us. So now suddenly complaining on those forums that, oh yeah, it's too much grind, it's too much. It always has been grindy. And I agree with some of these things. The numbers are ridiculous. Or boring. Not enough variation in it. That is fine. But all in all, we're playing, we're doing it. Something to do. For others who took a break, they came back and are doing it now. So it's like, it worked, you know. And we got the cars. That being said, we're still missing a car, right? We got it somehow. Beginning of the video somewhere. Meanwhile, I got a bunch of parts here that I need to get rid of. That is also something. There are some improvements possible. Like your mailbox, I wouldn't mind having a button there if that thing is full, where you could just say scrap all, you know. Now we have to scrap 50 parts in that mailbox if it's full. Also here you have to scrap them one by one. You can't select them first and then say like scrap these selected parts or something. So also in the menu there are some improvements possible. That thing is a street race, I'm assuming. Meanwhile, scrolling through all the cars that I have, which is 360. Also something we're missing is like a favorite filter, which would be very handy if we could actually get that thing in PvP. Now it puts them on order with vehicles that you have parts on. It puts them in order. And the vehicles that you don't have parts on come after that in alphabetical order, but depending on the level, if you have them, if you have parts on them, then they come in alphabetical order. So if you have like, let's say Street Race 280, they are in alphabetical order, and then you get all the lower levels in order of level. But you can select on brand and all that kind of stuff. I know that, but that's not the same as having a favorite where you can put like 15 or 20 vehicles in. That would make more sense. Then you don't have to search that whole list. Not a problem here, I have all day long, but in PvP it is a problem because there you have like 10 or 15 seconds to select the car. Need a favorite filter, that's what we need. And I also need my Mazda. I don't know what level that thing is. I'm assuming a bit higher. Well, not that much higher by the looks of it. 101 it comes. Car number 360. Let's have a look. What are our options here on this thing? Let's first play around with some visuals. Carbon, obviously. Okay, that may be. Oh, no, that may be. We'll go with this one for now. 5,000 bucks for a Mazda hood? Are you kidding me? Okay, so we can go for the color ones. Six for now. And that's... Oh, that is just like ridiculous. So 9 it will be, I think. Front fender. What are our options? That's more the wheel case instead of the fender itself. And I must say I don't like it very much. I was kinda hoping to have some white body kit on it. Unless just a no, I don't like that at all. We're gonna keep it for now. We'll go with this one for now. Color, we don't know yet. We'll do 2. And that one maybe on 1. Caliper, we don't know yet. We figured it out once we decide what color we're gonna put on the car itself. What do we have here? Carbon, little mirror, carbon, little mirror. Okay, let's go with that one for now. Skirts. We'll go with the colored one. We have that one on the front as well, right? Rear fender, what is this? Same as before on the forefront? Probably. Yeah. We'd rather have like this to expand to the... But we don't have that. This is pretty power actually. This is more like... Okay, I guess we go with this and then do the same on the front because it's better than nothing, but not the kind of front thing that we want to do. Fender wise. Rear wing. Yeah, this thing does not suit it. It really doesn't. Yeah, over that we're not even gonna talk about. Is that like to support the air nitro or what? I guess we're gonna go for 3. Yep, we're gonna go for 3. 5,000 for a wing. You gotta be kidding. It's a Mazda, man. It's not a Lamborghini. 5,000 bucks. What do we have here? Okay, let's see. Double exhaust. Same but with black lights. Single exhaust, black lights. Okay. That one maybe. Quadruple exhaust. Yeah, big ass exhaust. No, we'll keep it simple. Kinda like the black though. Bit of contrast. Maybe I keep it the car white and go for some black contrast. Okay, let's try that. Now we're gonna have to fiddle with the hood as well, or the front bumper. We go full white. Yo, that's not white, that's beige. Can't we change these colors, fine tune? No, only the car colors apparently. Now we'll go with this one. Keep it a bit black. Okay, we're gonna have to look now. that actually works, to be honest. But we're gonna make it chrome, eh? Nope, we're not gonna make it chrome because we don't really get white from it. Even in metallic you don't get white, it's more gray. What is this? Fine tune. Can we get more white? Nope, we cannot get more white. That's as low, as high as we can get it. Then we have to go with the standard colors, because nothing else is looking white. It's gray or beige or... Okay, wait a minute. Can I get the drift delivery on this one? Can try that. Let's have a look. Martini doesn't work very well, does it? Audi. This totally does not work either. Where did it put the Mazda? I can move it a little bit maybe. But that's never gonna work, is it? Need to have a look on that car first. Why is that stupid radio still on? We're gonna have to look in the house. House, please. We're gonna have to look. Of course, now we're standing next to a plane because we were in a plane. It made it favorite though. Okay, let's have a look. What's going on here? The rear looks okay. Not so sure. We're gonna go for the carbon fenders or not. It's too white in the front, I think. It's my guess. So we could go for this one. No, the hood was fine. Maybe let's go for a tint on the... A little tint carbon, so maybe we can try that. That's too much. Okay, let's try that. Which of course also means we need to make some adjustments. Put in some more carbon. No, we went for the fine one, didn't we? Might actually work. That might actually work. We'll see if it does or not. That's fine, that's fine, that's fine. Yeah, and this one we don't have carbon. Okay, now we need something with the rear bumpers as well. Could do this one. Okay, the rest is fine. But I'm not so sure yet though. The fenders don't work for me. That black is too much. Okay. That looks to be better. Wheels, please. You have something a bit normal. It would make sense if they were not off-road. Okay, we'll go for this one, I guess. Have anything else? Okay. Okay. For now we go for this ones. Smoke. The star probably. No. Nitro. What is that thing? The racer. That's an ugly one, I must say, but that thing totally does not suit it at all. But yeah, nor does this one. Is there anything that suits this? Yeah, this one maybe. For now we put the racer on, but I don't like the thingies. We need some parts, please. Where do we have some parts? What do they have sitting on this thing? Low digger set. We'll put a sniffer on now. $101 it was, I think. And why is this white? What happened to this? Like, just shows as a white Porsche now. Although I have the Martini livery on it. Okay. Tuning. Seems to be fine. Get some steering, please. Okay, brake balance. 1638, 24, 11, 05. $16.05 is the lowest I can get for now. The racer. Those lights. I think we can get away with one less arrow. Seems to have a gear issue there. Either it has a gear issue or I have wheel spin like crazy. That's because of those wheels. Never know with those wheels. And how does it do speed wise? Moment. Of course. Trying to test something. $380, $390 or something, but it takes ages to get there. Oh. 9 it is. For me, at least. Go mess about with it in PvP, you probably need to put it on 10, but... we need a picture. There we go. We need another picture. There we go. 1 for in the file, 1 for on Steam for those who want it. Seems to drive okay, handle as well. Just not so sure about the top speed though. Acceleration is okay if you put it on 9, but not so much on 10. The long gears. 4th and 5th. You put the gearbox on 10. It's also not waterproof. $380, $390 maybe in slipstream, but that's about it, I think. If you wait long enough, it might get 400 if you have the gearbox on 10. I have it on 9 now. I'd switch back, but also not so sure about that racer logo there. I'll keep it on for now. What is exclamation marks here? Points or so, probably. Yep. It drives pretty okay, handling wise. The Mazda RX-7, the Plymouth Roadrunner, which reminds me. We need to go back to the house, because that also means that the collection is complete. And our car is not in the garage yet. So we'll just put it there, right? We have some room there in the back. Oh my god, man. Ivory Tower. Give me at least an option to change that camera back to what it was, because this one is piss pot. Every time the same. Oh my god, my god, my god. Dude, what are you in my picture? Get the hell out of here. Okay, zoom. Too much zoom. Grid is up. Why can't we change anything on this? Show the driver. I don't want that dude in here. Get him out of my picture. Why can't I change that? What a piss pot. Gonna have to zoom in so that he's out of the picture, or I need to put him elsewhere. That's also an option. That's so right. Okay. Why is that dude in that picture? Fucking unbelievable. can't take a proper picture here. Need to put that guy in the elevator and get him out of there. That's our only way. Even that is a problem with that dude. That will do just fine. I'll take an outside gamer as well. This makes more sense though. Although it's a big house underglow, but still. It fits it. This, I'm not so sure of. To be honest. It is what it is. We got them. Bit of grinding. Especially the last days, but they're all three in the garage. Which means collection 360 out of 360. Every single car so far in the garage. And we have 10 million bucks. So we are also ready in case they bring some other stuff, which we need to pay for. We're not so much ready for any other of the Star Edition vehicles. Oh, let's see. No, not really. Not really. Nope. Nope, nope. Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably. Maybe. Sort of thinking on what we could maybe expect or not. Ferrari. No. Yeah, one or two, I think. We got a couple of new brands coming in as well. Also here, yep, maybe. Maybe. 14. I don't know the exact numbers on the hobby things, what you need. Like Lamborghini, I'm pretty sure you don't need all 14. It's probably just you. If you're hoping on police, as far as I know, that's not gonna happen. You hear some police sirens in some of the trailers or so, but that is just to represent the city life of a American city where you hear police sirens all the time, but it's about legal American motorsports police driving around on the map maybe, but as a feature, it would not make any sense in the whole structure of the game. And the majority of the community also doesn't want it. So the only way they can implement that something with police is if they make it something separate, which not likely going to happen, unless maybe not here. Let's put it that way. We got Plymouth, yep. From what I know, there are a couple of new cars coming, there are some bikes coming. Maybe some boats even. Planes, I don't immediately know. There are at least a couple of new brands coming, at least 2 that I know of. There are some other vehicles coming, of which we already have brands in the game and so on. When is it? 2 weeks or something? They were gonna announce the next update. Well, not announce a sneak peek on that or something like that. I don't know how they're gonna do that. Just an article on the website or a trailer on Twitter or whatever. Or are they gonna do a live stream where they represent the future a bit? I have no idea. It says on the website at that moment there is an article for the June content, and that last week it's anniversary week. It's 2 years of the crew. We have a live summit with some references to the crew 1. You can win the Dutch Viper 2010. You can just buy that thing in the game at the moment, but that's sort of a reference. I think that was the Ubisoft reward in the crew 1. That's sort of a reference to that. You get a 2nd anniversary underglow if you get platinum in the summit. There is a live crate boost coming. That week they're also going to announce something about the next update, which I expect to come in mid-July somewhere, I think, because Summit batch number 4 runs till July 8th. They probably will repeat a summit from before, sort of like they did in November. They repeated 3 in March, they repeated 2 to give people another chance at those cars. And then we have some more coming. So we have the summer update. That was update number 7 that was announced for summer. I expect it to come in July because in August usually the devs go in on holidays. So my guess, 1 or 2 repeats of the summits, and then either on July 15th or July 22nd they will have the summer update. And they probably in the last week of June will announce something of that. Update number 8 is a pretty big one, which probably will come towards the end of the year, beginning of next year. I'm also not so sure that's going to be free. That might be like the first DLC. Has to do with all kind of stuff that comes into the game. Are they going to announce that in June? Probably not. Maybe on July 12th we have Ubisoft Forward. So Ubisoft is going to present what the future brings for all their games. The Crew is one of their games, so maybe we get some sneak peek on what is coming in update number 8 on that. I'm not sure where that is. I think on the Twitch and YouTube channels from Ubisoft, July 12th. That's the only thing we know so far. The date. That is more or less Ubisoft's way of presenting the future, which they normally would have done in E3, but that was cancelled, or at Gamescom, that is also cancelled. So more than likely they will announce the future of whatever they have running at the moment. The Division, or is it expansions for the Division 2, or is it Division 3, or is it Far Cry 6, or it definitely will not be the Crew 3. They are, as far as I know, not even working on that, so not yet. So we will have some expansions coming and stuff like that for this game, or updates, whatever you want to call it. One in summer for sure, and one towards the end of the year or beginning of next year. If you look on the live roadmap, those are the ones that are on there. After that, who knows? They might bring 1 or 2 more updates after that. We will see. Whatever they come up with. For now, it was Hobbies. I know they had some other features planned. Some of them were not ready, like the Hobbies. Normally should have been, I think, in March there, but it was not completely ready yet. They needed to test it a bit, which we did in technical tests, or at least some of us. And they fine-tuned it a bit. That's why it was a bit later. We got them in May now, the Hobbies. There were 2 other things planned that I know of. One was postponed because they were still working on it. Probably will get that in summer update. The other one, not too sure what happened to that. Will we also get that in summer update, or will we get that later? We will see. Update 8, I have a pretty good idea what's going on there. But of course, due to NDA and all that kind of stuff, although TPC is on hold, we are still under NDA. We cannot reveal anything of that. They will do at the given time. For now, grinding for the cars was the option, and we selected to do so, and we got them. The Mazda RX-7 Turbo 10th anniversary. We also get the Plymouth Roadrunner, and we also get the Hummer HX Concept. Does that mean that we're done with the Hobbies? No, not really, because we're still missing some stars here and there. A few things which still need to be completed. As a completionist, we want to do everything, so we're gonna go with that. The only problem that I'm gonna have is in the racer category, that highlight stuff. They have to come up with a solution for that. Otherwise, I have to do something. Delete my friends list, beat these highlights, and then invite the friends again. Something like that to get these 100 highlights beaten, because with the current records that I have on my map, one single of them is beatable. Because they're all top scores which you can't beat. I mean, for instance, the top speed, 720 is the top speed. You can't do 721, so you cannot beat it. And the rest is glitch stuff and devs testing stuff, and yeah, that's what you have if you have a couple of devs and so on your friends list. But it's not only for me, a lot of people have a issue. They might be able to beat some of them, but not 100. They do not are able to beat 100. If you're a bit in the competitive section of the community, Summit players, PvP players, you do not beat. We all have sort of similar friends on that list. Also my friends list, most of them are people competitive. I saw earlier here again, I get that like daily, people sending me friends requests. I cannot accept them because I already have too many. You have that PvP thing, peer-to-peer connection. You need to keep your friends list on Uplay under 50, or you have issues in PvP. It used to be around 80, but in this game it seems to be more about 50, so a bit more here or there. I think I have 62, 63 now, and I deleted already a couple, so it's like... Yesterday I had a guy, yeah, I'm subscribed to your channel, please add me to your friends list. Yeah, I have 2,700 subscribers on YouTube. If I need to put all of them on my friends list, my game will crash, so I can't do that. I will have a look on the friends list one of the next days or weeks. People that I haven't seen in a long time I might throw up, and then we can add some more people, but we will see. Most of them are people that we play regularly with, and people that we know of. People that we play with sometimes if we need to do some stuff in crews, in the summits and stuff like that. So yeah. This is not just about having people on the friends list. I don't care if I have 200-300 then, but this has to do with playing PvP. You get kicked if you have too many. And we already have too many. So we cannot accept anybody who is new to the channel or so, which I don't even know. My friends list, I have people, all of them I know by first name, both basically. and people that are on my Discord and things like that. So that's how it goes. Other than that, we're gonna stop it for now. We might be back later tonight. This little grind is over. The rest are things we're gonna have a look at. Over time they will come. The Hobbies grind, at least for the cars, is over. For me, at least. Finally got them in the garage. Last Friday or so we had Season 4 in Warzone. Haven't been in there yet. I updated it, but I didn't start the game yet, so we might do that tonight a bit. We will see. Not sure if I will stream. Maybe one of my team's mates will stream. Then I will host or something like that. We will see. Maybe tonight, if not tomorrow. Thanks for watching, guys. I will see you guys in the next one.